everyone. Thanks for joining me. You're watching the In Deep on the Delta Weekly Fishing Report for the week of June 16th. I have been in Canada for about 3 weeks, and I want to thank Nathan for filling in for me. I know it's taken a little bit of time and effort for him, so thanks a lot, Nathan. I want to thank all you guys who supported Nathan while I was away, and I also want to encourage everyone to continue, if you're out here fishing, continue sending me your daily reports, and that will be sending them to scooper9561032@gmail.com. I want to make sure I am getting as many reports as I can so that I can relay the information from the average anglers that are out here. I will continue to keep up on tournament results, and I talk to Rob every week. I talk to the shops. I talk to a lot of people that I have fingers out here on the Delta, but a lot of times these guys are, I won't say professional fishermen, but guys that are out here all the time and maybe have a little leg up on the common guys that only get to go fishing once a week or once every couple weeks. So it's really important for you guys that are out, the weekend anglers, to give me some reports, and I will make sure that when I do my reports, it'll have the flavor of what the common guy can expect out here. With that being said, I will have a couple of videos out on my Ontario trip. I was up there with my good friend Bob. I was up there with Jason, his dad John. We had a great time, and if you watch these videos and you want to at some time in your life get up there, and I suggest you put this area on your bucket list. It's an absolute bass fisherman's heaven. It is incredible. It's untapped. There's 450,000 lakes in Ontario, and most of them never get fished. It is just a great fishery. So if you have an interest in going up there, send me a comment, give me your contact information. I will call you and I'll answer any questions that you have, and I'll let you know exactly how to get up there, who you need to contact, what it's going to cost you, and it is a very reasonable trip. What you have to bring, what you don't have to bring, I can answer all of your questions when it comes to that fishing Ontario. Fantastic place. Check out the video coming up in a week or so, and I think you're going to want to go. Put it on your bucket list. Okay, closer to home, guess what? Lost Island burned down. If you haven't heard that, they had a fire out at Lost Island. I know there wasn't anything going on out there. There was a couple of buildings still left, the old bar and the old restaurant and some of the thatched huts that you'd sit under in the shade. And they had a fire, and the fire department basically just let it burn down. And it's kind of a sad day for most of us that have been out here and remember the heyday of Lost Island. I mean, it was an iconic Delta watering hole, we'll call it. Got a little rough there towards the end, but man, I remember growing up out here. And if anybody thinks they caught more catfish and perch off of those docks than I did, please send me a comment, because I think I was king of the docks out there during the 60s and 70s when I was a kid running around fishing with clams and worms for bluegill, anything I could catch off those docks. So kind of sad for me, but Lost Island burned down. Probably is not going to be open, so let's just kind of push that and back, and we'll just keep the good memories. Hey, let's talk about Alan Fong. Alan's up in Alaska now. He's up there fishing for lingcod, halibut, rockfish, and I'm sure salmon, whatever he can catch. Wasn't able to get a report from him, but if you keep up with Alan's channel, I'm sure he's going to talk about his experience up there and probably give you guys some information if you're looking to go up on a trip on Alaska. So, Alan, we hope you have a good time up there and wish for your safe return, and we will be getting some information from you guys next week. All right, with that, let's get right into the Delta report. Conditions are great out here. It's water temperatures about 75 degrees. Depending on where you are, 2 to 4 foot visibility in some places. Most of the Delta you're getting from probably more like 6 or 8 feet of visibility. Very clear water out here. The fishing is not what it was a few weeks ago. We'll get into that here in a second, but conditions are good. Dealing with a little bit of Delta breeze, but it's a summer breeze. It's not terrible, and this time of year the breeze can not only cool it off for us, but it will it could help you, especially if you're throwing chatterbaits and crankbaits out here, reaction baits where you're moving along fast, buzz baits. That breeze is actually a help. So we'll talk about that too here in a minute. Striper guys, I think your shot at stripers, it's not over, but it's waning. The most of the fish have the big slug that moved in from the bay is either on their way out or already out of the delta. The last week reports have dipped. I talked with some of the shops, and they're not getting a whole lot of reports. I'm not seeing people out here fishing for stripers, and another telltale sign is that the sea lions are literally gone. I've been out here 3 days this week, and I have not seen one sea lion. I have got a report from some guys as recently as last week that have been bank fishing off of 8 Mile Road, and they have been catching fish. And I know the guys that are out, fishing out north, especially around Liberty, they're still catching a few fish. But that big slug is kind of come and gone, and it's probably going to take a little dip the next couple months. And then I'm really suspecting that we're going to have a great fall striper fishery when they come back into the system. That's the striper report. Let's get into the largemouth bass. And the largemouth bass have also taken a little bit of a hit. Still good numbers, but the bigger fish are kind of disappearing, and there is a reason for that. We're going to talk about that in just a second. I'm going to talk about what I've been doing to catch my fish here in the last week or so since I've been back. We'll start off, I talked with Zach from Outdoor Sportsman. Zach and his partner won the Wednesday nighter last week, and he had about almost 22 pounds. And when I was talking to Zach, he kind of was giving me the impression, don't let that 22-pound bag fool you. They did not have a great night. He caught all of his fish in him. I think it was 75 feet or 75 yards of bank. They happened to hit a one bank that they picked up all of their fish in. No big fish, but those solid 4-pound nice chunk fish. And it was enough to win the Wednesday nighter. But other than that, it was very tough fishing for these guys. And Zach said a lot of his friends that fish also experienced some very tough fishing on the Wednesday nighter. How Zach caught them, didn't say exactly, but it was a variety. He wasn't, only punching. He wasn't only frogging. He was throwing worms. He was throwing chatterbaits. A variety of baits are catching fish, and that has been the consensus for everyone that I've been talking to out here on the Delta. It's a variety of baits that are catching fish, a lot of small fish coming in, and the bigger fish have not disappeared. They are still out there, but you got to wade through a lot of small fish and a lot of rats. Now, here is the reason I believe the small fish are more and more prevalent. I have seen tons of fry out here, and they're anywhere from a half an inch to about 3 inches. So we've had, I believe, a really good spawn this year. It's been a long drawn out spawn starting in late February, and I honestly believe that this full moon here in June, we're still getting fish spawning. Those fish are deeper, and this is what I want to get at. The early fish that come in, they seem to spawn shallow. You see them, you know what's going on. Everybody thinks the big spawn is taking place. You see a few fry. Next full moon, fish are still there, fish are still there. What happens this time of year, because of all this vegetation, it's cleaning up the water. We have that 8 or 10 feet of visibility. These fish can spawn a lot deeper, and the fish that are spawning now are not in 2 feet of water. They're out in deep water. It could be 6, 8, 10 feet deep, and I guarantee you in the next month or so you're going to see another batch of fry that are about a half an inch long, and that's going to tell you, it's going to guarantee you that these fish right now are still spawning. The reason we're not getting the big fish is because the fish from the last spawn are in post spawn. The fish that are big fish that are spawning now are spawning. They're not biting. Even the fish that may have spawned 6 weeks ago, they're just recovering from that post spawn, the big females. So it usually takes a couple weeks, maybe, every fish is an individual, but I am expecting in the next 10 days to 2 weeks, you're going to start seeing a lot of the big females that are very difficult to catch right now are going to recover from post spawn, and they're going to get very aggressive. So it's looking good for the next couple of weeks. There's very light pressure out here. The numbers are good. The quality has not been so good, but if you're out here, it's really important to put in a long day if you're interested in getting into some type of bite, because if the bite windows are not 2 and 3 hour bite windows, they're more like a half an hour bite window at the right period of the tide. Now the right period of tide for me has been the high outgo. I'll talk about what I've been doing. I haven't been out in the morning, but I have talked to some guys that have experienced some good fishing in the morning. I think the morning fishing is probably better. Early morning is probably better than late evening right now. I went out the other day and I fished till about 10 o'clock, and I had about a 20-minute bite window right at dark, and they were all a pound to maybe 2 pounds, nothing of any size. They were taking the bubble walker. I really tried to pick up a couple of bigger fish on wake baits and buzz baits, and I just could not get anything going on them. They wanted that small, slow-moving bait, so think about that. Maybe the bait of the week is the chatterbait. I've been throwing a lot of the chatterbait, and a lot of people have been sending me reports saying they're getting them on chatterbaits. I put this fire craw on there, and my take reduced. The color that I have been using is a basically green pumpkin with a little orange in it. I like this color because it represents not only crawfish, but it also represents bluegill and things. And this is one that I've been using. It's the Mr. B's chatterbait. I don't know what he calls this color, but it's got the dark blade on it, and that's the one. If you guys are looking for an alternative to a jackhammer, and I know, you guys know I love to fish the jackhammer, this is a great alternative at a very good price point, and it's been catching a lot of fish for me. But stick with this color here, the green pumpkin, something that's going to look like a crayfish or a sunfish. Last but not least, I've been catching fish on worms. The other day I put on a drop shot, and I don't fish drop shot out here a whole lot, but I wanted to catch fish. I put on a lighter, I don't know, what is it, 7-foot tattoo, rated for I think 12 to 15 pound test, a lighter rod, and I just was enjoying catching the 1 to 2 pound fish. And I've been using this worm right here, and I'll tell you, this is it's a 7-inch robo worm. If you're not using the red craw color, give that a try. It's got a little black and a little red in it. That's another thing that I want to point out. A lot of guys are saying this black and red color has been doing really well. It doesn't necessarily have to be this particular color, but have some black and red in it, you should do okay. With that, I want to thank you guys for watching. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe, hit the like button, and you can be expecting some action videos here on the Delta, and a few reviews, and probably a couple more interviews in the next couple months out here. And so pay attention to the channel. I hope to see you guys on the water. Until then, thanks a lot for watching. Good luck.